Hi everybody. So today I'm going to take you through a basic flow that releases the psoas muscle, which I know you've all heard about before, piriformis muscle, which when that muscle is really tight can compress something called our sciatic nerve and cause shooting pain down the back of our leg, and also to release the quadratus lumborum, which attaches onto the lumbars and onto the iliac crest. So all of these together can help alleviate some of the symptoms you might be feeling of back pain. So I thought I'd show you on my skeleton. It's a great way for you to actually see where those particular muscles attach, and so that you'll understand as we move through this process, we'll actually be shortening and lengthening the muscles, which when something is really short, tight, and contracted, and we make it even shorter, it will release more easily. But also if something is on stretch, is tight, long, by making it even longer and then bringing it back into a really short position, we allow it the opportunity to release as well. So let's take a look at where those muscles attach. We have psoas first, and psoas is the deepest muscle. It attaches onto the transverse process, so onto the vertebrae of the back, comes through the hip, the pelvis, and attaches onto the lesser trochanter of the femur, so all the way to the leg. It's an important muscle. It's the muscle that becomes short when we sit all day, which typically a lot of people do. All right, so then let's take a look at the back. Then we have piriformis, which actually attaches on the more inferior, so on the internal portion of the sacrum, and then again attaches onto the superior border, the top of the greater trochanter, the outside of the femur. So we can see how these muscles working together, and then quadratus lumborum, where it attaches onto the vertebral bodies and then attaches onto the iliac crest, the top of the hip bone. So all of those are affecting the spine, the lumbars, the pelvis, and then of course the pelvic floor. So we're going to go through a short flow today to release those. It's going to take you 25 minutes at the most, and then we'll see how you feel afterwards. You can continue to do this flow every day. So I'm just going to move the skeleton out of the way. Perfect. I'm going to get you to start by coming into a standing position on the edge of your mat. Good. Feet are under hips. Shoulders are square. Roll them up, back, and down. Open the palms. So rotate the shoulder heads back, and then close the eyes. And take a moment to bring your focus to your breath. So just a few important things to note here before we start. Do I feel as though I'm leaning forward? So the weight is in the ball of my foot, or can I feel that my weight is in my heels, as though I'm leaning back? Or is my body unsure whether to place my weight on the ball of my foot or onto the heel, and I roll back and forth? So just noticing these things. Perfect. And then take a moment to notice the breath. Good. Notice where the breath goes, where the breath feels caught or trapped. Can I feel that my armpits open and lift? The back of my body opens when I breathe in. Or does it feel as though my breath is caught in my chest? So starting to expand that breath, pushing all four corners of the rib cage out and feeling the diaphragm even pushing down so much that the belly pushes out. So not forcing these things, but simply noticing. Good. Now I want you to open up the eyes. Inhale, take a deep breath in. And exhale, and I just want you to sit back slightly. So we're going to find that chair pose. So inhale up and exhale back. So as always, we're just creating a little bit of heat and warmth in the body. Before we can stretch or open things, the body needs to be warm. So probably the best time to do these exercises would be after a workout, when the body's warm, or out of the shower, out of a bath, out of a sauna if you have one in your home. We're going to do this a couple more times. Good. One more time. Perfect. And rise. So we're just going to take our feet out to the long edges of our mat. Turn the toes out slightly. Reach up toward the sky and exhale as you sit down. Inhale as you rise. So right away we're starting to stretch and open the muscles of the inner thigh. So using that breath, inhale as you rise, exhale as you lower. Perfect. And then the next time you rise, I just want you to give me a small hinge from your hips. So small hinge forward and lift. And do that again. So we should be starting to feel some heat, some warmth in the legs. Good. And then to open up the side body, we're just going to go into a little bit of lateral flexion. So one side, good, and then the other. Perfect. And let's do that a few more times. One more time each side. Good. Last one. Perfect. Inhale, rise. Exhale, sit down. We're just going to stay here for a moment. So sink a little deeper, roll the shoulders back and down. Seeing if we can feel the heat of the sun on the palms of our hands, the tops of our shoulders, maybe even the tip of our nose. Perfect. One more breath here. And then inhale and rise. Perfect. So we're going to start first by coming into forward fold. So inhale, take a deep breath up, exhale all the way down, and pause here. Let the head, neck, and shoulders hang down. And even if you can, reach up and find the creases of your elbows. So we're shortening that psoas muscle, folding the body in, decompressing the spine. Perfect. And then inhale and rise. Good. I want you to take a big step back with your right leg. Drop your knee down toward the floor. Good. So we're going to come into a long lunge, making sure that that knee is either directly above the ankle, or if it's over just slightly, better it's behind a little. And then this hip is pressing down toward the floor. Perfect. We can simply stay here. If you're looking for a little bit more, you can extend the arm. Take the gaze up. So we're attached all the way from our chin to our pubic bone. So by lifting the throat, the heart, we increase the tension along this line. Good. And then let your hand come down toward the floor. We're just going to reach this fingertips up toward the sky. So again, just shortening that muscle. Perfect. One more breath here. And then let that hand circle back down toward the floor. You're going to come into wide straddle splits. So walking the hands toward the midline. And then just lengthening through the spine. And again, just letting the upper body sink down. Perfect. And walk to the other end of your mat. So again, turn that toe out and bring the spine up tall. And you simply stay here if you'd like. Continue to breathe. You can reach the hand up toward the sky. Good. Bring the hand back down toward the floor and go ahead and twist. Taking that opposite hand up toward the sky. Still sinking down through the front of that hip. And notice the differences side to side. We're not symmetrical, we are asymmetrical beings. And so we're not trying to make both sides the same. We're just noticing though the tension and where the body's holding it and where we can increase motion and movement. Good. Bring the hand back down toward the floor. And then let's move back into the center. So back into that wide straddle splits once more. Perfect. And this time we're going to stay lifted. So again, turn to the opposite side of the mat. Turn the back toe slightly in, so on a diagonal. We're going to move to warrior one. Now, if it's too much for the arms or the shoulders, you can always bring your hands to your heart. You can reach the hands toward the sky. Good. And then let's open into warrior two. So reaching the fingertips out long, repositioning that back foot if you need to. All four corners of the foot press down toward the earth. Perfect. And then side ankle pose. So elbow, forearm down to thigh, opposite hand up toward the sky, or you can reach the arm over the body. So we're not looking to find our deepest appreciation of this. What we're looking to find is an opening. So on the right side, we're stretching out along the psoas. On the left, we're shortening. Perfect. And then again, back into that wide straddle split. So hands down to the floor, turn the toes in. Notice that each time we come to this pose, there's more space. Good. Lengthen back out. Turn the toes on the right foot, and again, come into that warrior one. If we're taking care of shoulders, we can always bring our hands back to our heart. Noticing where we feel the tension and seeing if we can breathe into those areas. So the awesome thing about any kind of movement that we do in the body, whether it's yoga or even simply exercise, whatever type it is, when we do this, we're increasing the neuroplasticity of the brain. We're rewriting those neurons and giving the body better ability to adapt, to create change. Good. Bring the hands back to the heart. And again, move into that warrior two. So Reposition the back foot. Sink down through the front and breathe. And uncurl the toes on the front foot. Bring the attention to the breath. And feel the body soften. Good. And then elbow down. Arm up and over. Or you can reach long and away. So things don't always need to be strength stretched in order to have relief. Sometimes we need this proponent, this small bit of strengthening. That strengthening will take what's tight off tension. Allow the body the opportunity to reset itself. Perfect. Last time, let's come back to that straddle splits. Good. Lengthen through the spine. And then walk back to the end of the mat. Step all the way back. So take a moment in downward dog. Good. Let the knees come down to the mat. And we're going to move into child's pose. So relax the head, neck, and shoulders. Let the forehead rest on the mat. Alright, go ahead and bring the upper body in a little bit closer. We're going to open the knees a little wider. And then again, sink back down. And breathe. So remember, we're not forcing. We're allowing the body the opportunity to release. And bring the arms back in. Come all the way on to all fours. So push into the elbows, draw the knees in closer. Come up and go ahead and articulate through the spine. Easy cat and cow. One more time in each direction. Let it go. Good. So we're going to come all the way onto our backs. So walk your feet in under your hips, but we're still keeping the knees hip distance apart, and this is called constructive rest. And in this position, our psoas muscle can again shorten and release. So turn the hands, palms up by the sides, close the eyes. And take a moment to notice how the pelvis feels on the floor. So are both glutes pressed into the mat, or can we feel that one's heavier than the other? Can we feel that twist in the low back at all? One side of the rib cage is heavier than the other. So on the side that's lifted or not pressing or touching the floor as heavily, that's the side that we need to stretch. So every pose has the capacity to either stretch or strengthen, simply depending on where we place our focus. So just take note of how the body feels right now. Perfect. And I want you to draw your left knee in towards your chest. Slowly slide your right leg out. So if you start to feel the low back arch, simply come back to the beginning, reset, and slide the leg back out again. And close the eyes. Then you're going to reach above that knee with your opposite hand and draw it down toward the floor. So if it's really lifted from the floor, you can place a block underneath. But remember that you do want some tension. Resisting the urge to force or flow. And again, noticing the breath. So right now we're stretching piriformis. And then we're going to continue to roll. So we're going to let the knee find the floor, and we're going to roll so that the pelvis is facing the floor. And bring the hands in close for Sphinx pose. So again, just finding that easy, relaxed position. And breathe. So on some people this will feel pretty intense. If you need to, you can place a towel under the knee. Perfect. And lower down to the floor and release the leg. Perfect. Use the palms. Push and lift. And notice that I'm on a bit of an angle with my arms. So I'm not directly under my body. I'm still allowing that curve in the lumbars. If I want to intensify it, I simply just look up toward the sky. And then again, slowly lower back down and push all the way back into child's pose. And breathe. Perfect. Come back to all fours. Move through an easy cat and cow pose. Back to neutral and come back into a seated position. And again, roll all the way back down to the mat. This time we're going to draw our right knee in. Slide our left leg out. Again, just taking a moment to note, if we start to feel the low back arch, simply bring the foot back in, reset, and slide it back out again. So again, slide the bottom foot in, push into that foot to release the hip, and draw the top leg over. Again, you can place a block under the knee if you need to. And breathe. slowly roll to that side. So you're going to bring the shoulder up and over. The knee is going to find the floor. Perfect. You're going to keep the foot open just like you did on the other side and find Sphinx pose at the front. So shoulders, elbows under shoulders. And noting the differences side to side. Which side felt more tender? Remember to breathe. So we're never pushing into pain or discomfort. And allowing the body the opportunity to relax and open on its own. I often say, when in life did anything ever turn out the way you wanted it to when you forced it? Perfect. Again, so relax down to be able to slide the leg under. Good. And then push out. Lower down and push back into child's pose. Turn your hands palms up. And go ahead and reach the right arm all the way across and lean away. Come back to center. Good. And then go ahead and reach the left arm all the way across. So palm down on the left, palm up on the right. Keep breathing, big breaths in and out. I want you to feel the rib cage expanding, the belly pushing against the tops of the thighs, the back body opening and stretching. Perfect. Come back to center, both palms up. Good, and then come back onto all fours. Go ahead and move through the spine. Pull the belly in, let the tail drop down, and then lift the tail away. Articulate through the spine, pull the shoulder blades back and down, draw the eye gaze forward and up. Do that one more time. So let the tail drop down, the belly pull in, the rib cage close, chin to chest, forehead toward pubic bone. And then move in the opposite direction, lift the tail. Draw the shoulder heads back and down. Close the armpits, lift the eye gaze. And come back to neutral. Good job. So let's come back to one side and we're going to move into Shavasana. So we're just going to take a moment here, roll all the way down to the mat. And bring the feet back to that easy constructive rest position. Take a moment to notice the differences side to side. Does the body feel a little more even? Perfect. And then tent the knees, turn the toes in, and rock through the low back. So press the back down and relax, release it up. And do that a couple more times. Good. And then let the low back come into neutral and extend the legs out. So we're finding Shavasana. Take a moment here to notice how the front of the hips feel. So we're just giving the body the opportunity to rewrite those lines, change those patterns of movement, to accept the space that we've created, the space that once was and now is again. See if you can soften the jaw, let the teeth open slightly, soften the face, let the eyes grow heavy. Relax the forehead, feel the scalp loosen, and the head sink into the floor. And breathe. Take a moment to feel gratitude and gratefulness for a body that moves. And to know that the only thing consistent is that nothing will stay the same. And we have all the power to control how we react and move through these circumstances. So if all we do today is breathe, we are doing yoga. Slowly walk the feet in under the hips. Reach behind the thighs and draw the knees toward the heart. Circle in one direction. Noticing how much of the back is touching the floor. And then circle in the opposite direction, releasing any tension that may be left. And then just a small rock side to side until we rock all the way to one side. Taking a moment there. Tucking away this small bit of peace that we've cultivated. Slowly come up into a seated position. So our spine is tall, sit bones grounding down toward the earth. Crown of the head reaching toward the sky. We are the bridge between heaven and earth. Small smile, The mouth empty, not grasping. The eyes empty and clear, ready to see, and the ears empty and open, ready to hear, trusting the wisdom of our bodies, for they often reflect the wisdom of our souls. Inhale, take a deep breath up. Hands to heart, as we remember our hearts are at ease, knowing that what is meant for us won't pass us by, and what passes us by was not meant for us. Namaste. So thank you so much for practicing with me today. You can do this as many times as you'd like. It's going to actually release the psoas, the piriformis, create motion in those lumbars. So remember, we're all in this together. If there's anything that you'd like to see me do or you'd like education about, please message me here. Thanks a lot.